Hello and welcome to Online Business Uncovered. I'm your host, Karen, and today I'm joined by another incredible expert who will be joining me at this year's Online Business Growth Summit. Now, throughout this special series, I am chatting with all the speakers to give you a sneak peek into the knowledge that they're going to be sharing, and more importantly, to help you discover practical ways to build a business that gives you more income, more freedom, and less reliance on selling your time. So let's dive into today's discussion. And today I have the lovely Catherine Roe, who is a chartered accountant. Now, Catherine is all the way from Louisiana in the States. So we're absolutely thrilled that you're going to be joining us in this year's summit. So, Catherine, welcome. Would you like to start just by introducing yourself to listeners?
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
It's
So
my pleasure.
I, yes, so I am an accountant, but I also have branched off since, I got the entrepreneur bug into business efficiency and, being able to best organize your business to make the most of it without essentially having it kill you. So for me, I like to take the approach of, setting boundaries, setting limitations and really honing in on why did you want to start a business in the first place and pair that with tangible information like what comes from your numbers and really use all of that to be able to put together the best plan for how to move forward, how to grow, and be the best that you can be for yourself and everyone around you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the numbers when it comes to running a business and even growing a business are paramount. But I one of the challenges that I think many entrepreneurs, micro business owners face is that because there's so much to do in their business with the marketing and the delivery of the services and all of that stuff. Often the numbers can kind of come last, can't they? Is that something that you've experienced with your clients where they've come to you and they're at a certain point in their business, but they just don't know what those numbers are because it's not been a focus up until that point?
A lot of times when people want to start a business, they have a great passion for something. And that's really great to have. And it can be very easy to get wrapped up in that and just try to pull everything together after the fact, trying to get, all the necessary things in place, whether it's legal or financial, to be able to string it all together into something usable. And yes, accounting and, finances can be in the last of that sometimes. That's why I always love it when new business owners, or not even yet, they're just about to start a business, they first come and they are thinking, what professionals do I need in my corner to help me out when I'm going through this? And sometimes it's a matter of, some people think that maybe they're at the very start of a business and they may not be able to afford it yet. Making a connection and building a relationship before you even have a need is free. It doesn't cost much to make those initial outreaches and have names and phone numbers that you can call when you do get to that point. So I think it's very important for people to understand that don't wait. It's not going to be some crazy expense that you can't handle.
Yeah, I think an accountant, like I think everyone that has a business needs an accountant or at least a bookkeeper in their corner. Because no matter how much you try and stay on top of things, when you're busy and you're trying to fight all the fires and you're trying to find new clients and convert those clients, and then you get paid, and then you've got all this other stuff going on, often it's the numbers, like I say, that accountancy stuff that can end up sort of falling by the wayside. And then people get behind, and I agree with you. I think when I look back, so I've been in business 10 years and I don't have many regrets, if I'm honest. It's been an incredible journey. However, if I was to say what one thing would I have changed, it's that I got an accountant on board from day one. Because the moment you start trading, the moment you start earning money, that all needs to be done in a way that kind of supports the growth of your business. And I feel like it's one of these things that, hindsight's great, and that's why experience comes in, because the value of an accountant is priceless, because that's the partner you want to really support your business. But when people don't know that, it's like, oh, I don't need an accountant. I'm a sole trader, or I'm not earning VAT yet. I'm not charging VAT, so I don't need. And it's that kind of sort of misinformation almost, that they don't believe they need it until they get to a certain point. By which case, it can often be further along, when actually
Right.
it would have been really handy to have had them at the start. Um, so I know from my own experience that's probably one of the regrets that I may have, in terms of, getting the right person on board very early on. Um, so with what you do, um, obviously you work with lots of different companies. Is that right? You're not sector specific or anything like that. Do you have
Yes.
a
So
do you have a specific type of business that's kind of like your sweet spot, or is it just quite broad?
I work with a lot of small businesses, especially service-based businesses, like medical professionals, engineers, also nonprofits. That's been pretty big lately for us. And the reason why I've tried to start picking up a lot more nonprofits is because I feel, kind of like I'm helping someone out more because they have, a service-based mission. But really, we love all small businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I guess that's the thing, isn't it? It's you can work with lots of different companies, and I suppose getting that insight into how they perform and what they're up to, and because you get to see that data, don't you, of exactly what's going on in their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's one of the biggest mistakes that you see with businesses when it comes to their finances and their accounts?
Well, we've already talked about how, people wait too long to get an accountant. The biggest mistake I see is when people think that they can be their accounting professional and do it themselves, which is it's a similar problem, but also different, all in the same. Because whereas before you have no help, now you might be at a place where you have a mess and you need someone to clean up a mess, and then that's when it actually costs you more.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose the danger of AI now, and just bringing that into it, is that um, AI kind of almost makes it possible to kind of be guided to do things. And I can imagine if you've got somebody trying to do their own accounts and trying to file corporation accounts and things like that, I, I wouldn't even bother. I would honestly like, yeah, because I can imagine the mess that people can make. But have you found that with the rollout of AI, that maybe more people are trying to do their own accounts?
Not so much more because of AI. And actually, AI, if you use it just like any other tool, it's essentially that, a tool to use. It's not a replacement for anything. It can save you time, but you have to put in the right input in order to get what you need out of it. And you have to remember also, it's pulling from anything online. So anything that's ever been done is going into that database and kind of can distort proper information. So a lot of times people will get half right answers if they're seeking answers. On our end, on the accounting professional side, we use it for, kind of organization and analysis of data we already have. We know what we're looking for. And there's a lot of times that I have to constantly refine it and say, nope, that's not what I wanted. And try again because you have to know what it is that you're trying to get at the end of the day, and not use it to give you answers like it's some all-knowing person.
Yeah. I guess that data, when we talk about sort of growing businesses and kind of scaling, um, the data that you pull in through the work that you're doing can often give you an insight into what you can do going forward, isn't it? Because sometimes I think with accountancy, it's more sort of past looking, like you're retrospectively looking back at something like, how have I done this year? You've got the numbers, you've got the data about that. But in terms of scaling, that data can equally be useful as well, can't it? To make predictions on how your business can grow going forward. Is that right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest points that I have that I make all the time. The very first step to anything with accounting is having accurate historical data. And that is step one. A lot of people don't realize that and think that is just what they need. That's just what they need to see how things are going, meet minimum regulation requirements, anything legal requirements to have the basics done. But that's really truly just step one. The next step after having your historical data correct, knowing how you've been doing, the next step is what's next. And, to determine what's next, yes, it's great to have that historical data. Take that, make a projection for some time out, see, based on how things have been going, what does the future look like? And that's step two. The next step beyond that is budgeting. That's saying, okay, this is what it's looking like. What can we do to make changes and plan for different scenarios? And that's really where you want to be if you're growth oriented. You want to be going through all these stages to be able to get to that point where you can play the what if game.
Mm. Yeah, so almost like you can model, how you're going to do going forward, I suppose. So obviously this summit, I want to touch upon the summit because the people that are going to be attending are interested in obviously creating digital products and that. So when it comes to creating digital products and then the way the accounts are filed for those. Could you give the audience an insight into what that looks like? Because I mean, is it the same as services? The way they do accounts around product based offerings, does it vary? Um, it'd be great to sort of get clarity around that.
Yeah, so having digital products, that's, the next big thing that everyone's into now. And of course, if you are a, service provider, yeah, you could have a great idea, something you could package up into a course and, sell and be able to scale that way without, having, more of your time taken up. The question is, how do you want to do it? Do you want to start a completely new entity, business entity for that so that it's completely separated? And there's no necessarily right answer for that. Sometimes it's just a preference, but those are some of the beginning steps that anybody needs to, think about first and foremost. And then, what would be the regulatory and, tax implications of doing that? And of course, have an accounting professional work with you to really get an understanding before making the decision. Definitely want to have some insight before making a decision and already being in it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know sort of my own personal sort of a journey when I was predominantly service-based provider. So I had a branding studio and a lot of my income was generated from project-based work. I was a limited business. And then I then decided because the nature of my business and the way that I was selling had changed, That structure didn't quite fit with what my intentions were going forward. So I made changes on that. But I had to take advice on it, and the advice I got was so important because we think we know what the answers are sometimes, and sometimes we don't even realize there's other implications that we need to really think about. So whether it's service based or product based or whatever, then yeah, I would, highly recommend that somebody speaks to, say, somebody like you about that, because like I say, then you've got all of the tax and everything that goes with it. um so with what you do, obviously what we're talking about is create more freedom in our businesses by being able to create scalable offers that people can sell beyond selling their time. When it comes to accounts, how can this create more freedom?
Um, a lot of times business owners think that revenue automatically means more freedom. However, more clients, more work does create more work and stress. And a lot of times, you're thinking about that top line, how do I get more in, get more in? But ultimately, you want to really focus on capacity and on the bottom line, the profit, not just the revenue. And, see what is this taking? Are there any inefficiencies in here that can be sorted to where at the end of the day, the take home amount that you have is more than it would have been, but without necessarily, you know, taking up all of your time, all of your life, and all of your energy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's, when we start a business, often we arrive out of business because we're good at the thing that we do. And that's predominantly why people want to start a business, because they want to deliver, do somebody's accounts, or they want to design for somebody or whatever. And it sort of becomes sort of 20% of maybe the overall kind of stuff that you got to do. It often becomes the less, because you've got the marketing and the networking and the, all the finances and all of that stuff that goes into sort of running and growing a business. And I guess the trade-off is, do you want to sell your time, and or do you want to kind of create something once and utilize your time up front, but then build in other income streams that you can sort of earn from, because you've done this work up front. And it's just, I sort of have this belief that I think probably 99.9% of business owners start a business because they want some kind of freedom in their life. um, and that slowly sort of disappears as they get busy. So it's kind of bringing them back to really what's important and why they started the business in the first place, which is why sort of I talk about the switch over from, trading your time to creating scalable offers. But I think you're absolutely right. It's about looking at, your capacity and, where you're spending your time and what you want to create from it, and all of that. Um, tell us about your summit session, because I know you're going to be delivering a very insightful session that I think people are going to really enjoy.
Yes. So my session is building a profitable business without burning out. And the reason why this is so important is so many people think that businesses fail because they're not doing well. And if a business failed, it's just, oh, they weren't doing well, they weren't making money, they weren't bringing revenue in. But a lot of times, businesses fail because they grow too quickly or they don't have a plan for it, and things just kind of start to explode in the process, and, different things fall apart and eventually can't operate anymore. So we don't want that to happen. So one thing I'll cover is going to be, 5 different drivers for business. There's pricing, boundaries, systems, delegation, and capacity. And through going through each of these, we're going to look at what the true, message is here, that your next stage of growth is going to be better design, not more hustle. You can only have so much of yourself to go around. There's only so much of you. And once you run out, what can you offer? So being able to use what you have, what your abilities are to the best and not completely collapse.
Yeah, I love that because it's really looking at the key things that kind of will make a difference and bring people's awareness to stuff. Because sometimes I think unintentionally you get bogged down with all the things that don't really move the needle. It's like that busyness for the sake of being busyness, where actually drawing back their attention to what's the plan, what's the goal, where do you want to get to, and how are we going to make this happen in a way that's sustainable long term for you without burning out. So as they move into creating digital products, it's kind of knowing where that fits and what is achievable by that, but without going down that road of burning out and, like I say, overreaching your capacity and stuff like that. So I love this because it's going to be something that I think will give people a lot of insight, but also get them really thinking about the things that are important. So yeah, I'm really excited about your session. It's going to be great.
Thanks.
So before we finish, I've got some quick fire round questions, just so that the audience can get to know you
Okay.
and, see what you're about. Really, are you a coffee or tea drinker?
I will say coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Like probably 90%, 95% of everyone said coffee. So
Really?
yeah. My kind of people. I love my coffee. So yeah.
I have to have both.
Yeah, I have chamomile in the evening, sort of like before bed, but every other time, honestly, I drink so much coffee, it's ridiculous. What's one business book you think every entrepreneur should read?
So this might seem a little bit much, but I actually wrote a book a couple years ago, No More 24/7. And this is the process that I went through and many other entrepreneurs who I interviewed of going from that, startup, overwhelmed, trying to do everything mindset to setting boundaries and efficiencies and becoming more profitable by working less and just becoming more efficient overall.
Nice, nice. Where can people buy this book?
Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Amazing. Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's worth people checking it out. Yeah, amazing. Well done. Because it's often a dream, isn't it, to write a book and like I say, when you kind of bake in your experience as well, it sounds amazing. So and we'll definitely have that on your speakers page so people can sort of check it out and go and buy as well. So yeah. What's the one tool or app that you just couldn't run your business without?
I would say my calendar because I have so many different emails and different invites coming from different places that it's nice to have my Google Calendar where I keep track of everything, whether it's an Outlook email or another Google account. I can see everything that's happening in my life and not be late or miss anything.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. I was speaking to somebody this week, and they said that they still use paper diary, which I find really interesting because we're in such a digital age. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really, like being able to kind of do everything digitally now, saves so much time. What's the one piece of business advice that has been the best you've ever received?
Just because you can does not mean you should.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. And in one sentence, what does building an online business for you mean?
For me, it's meant more flexibility, the ability to reach more people. I would say that's really the key, being able to reach more people because it frees up time and I can, dedicate my time to actually, doing work, doing analysis, making a difference, not worrying about the little administrative stuff, anything that can be automated, and really be able to dedicate the time and energy that my clients really do need from me.
Amazing. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been great. I'm really excited about your session. I think that the attendees of the summit are going to really enjoy it as well. Um, if you've enjoyed this conversation, then you're going to love the Online Business Growth Summit because this is just a small taste of what there is to come. Now, alongside today's guests, you'll be hearing from over 18 incredible experts covering everything from digital products to marketing to automation, sales, visibility, audience growth, and so much more. And it's all designed to help you build income beyond selling your time. Now, you can register for free um, by heading to the show notes. The link is in the show notes, or it'll be in the bio. Um, and like I say, you can register free, or at the moment, you can upgrade to VIP access where you get lifetime access to all the recordings from all the speakers. And at the moment, it's only £27. So this will be going up to £197 nearer the event. So go grab your free ticket now. And yeah, thank you, Catherine. I've loved
Thank
speaking to
you.
you, and thank you so much for coming on to the show.